adjustments, and we're going to move up item 6.2, the received total classification compensation study. Let's see, presentation, forgot that part, to after this adjustment. Does anybody else have any other items they want to move up?
Yes. I had a couple of questions on the management update. So that's 4.4. So we could pull that.
And usually we put that at the end of the agenda, so that's where we'll go. Okay. Okay, and is there public comment on anything? You're the only public member, Jim, so. Okay, yeah. So we will start with item 6.2, the classification and compensation study presentation.
President Lather, I apologize. Before we do that, can I report out a closed session?
Oh, yeah. You know, I already wrote it down.
There was no reportable action, and the board did not consider item 03. Thank you.
Thank you. In my mind, I'd already done it, so thank you. You're on. I don't think so.
Okay, there we go. Good evening. Thank you, President Lather and board members. David Terrasas, HR Manager. I'm pleased to introduce Doug Johnson from Ralph Anderson and Associates. At the March board meeting, we were directed to enter into a professional service agreement for the class and compensation study for district staff. We had our first kickoff meeting today with the district staff, and I wanted to invite Mr. Johnson here to give a presentation, brief presentation on the scope of the work and kind of what to expect moving forward.
All right, good evening, board members. Yes, we had a great afternoon, did a briefing session with employees where I spent some time letting them know what a classification and compensation study seeks to do. And in summary, what it seeks to do is to better align your job titles, update your job descriptions, and then set up your compensation plan so that it's aligned with what we learned in a market survey. So the objective is to be able to ultimately optimize this district's ability to recruit and retain employees. And it's a very participatory process, particularly on the classification side. Employees will be filling out questionnaires. There'll be an interview process that occurs in May. I met with the board earlier to talk about some logistics in terms of setting up the compensation survey, and we'll be doing that work in July. So there's a lot of moving parts here, and the objective, again, is to make sure that we can update the classification plan and job descriptions and put in place salary ranges that are optimized in terms of market conditions and best aligned with the internal relationships, organization structure of the organization. As I said, good meetings today, a good kickoff in terms of participation, good questions. And we will be a partner with the organization as we move through this. We'll have opportunities to meet with you again and to be a partner in terms of answering questions and issues as we move forward, with the objective of having this completed in about a 4-month duration. So by August, it should be complete. And then I know you'll use aspects of this potentially in terms of contract negotiations with labor groups. Will continue to be a resource available should anything come up in that process. Any questions? Yeah.
Thank you. Anybody have questions?
All right, thank you.
Okay. Great, thank you. And now I got to figure out where I am. So we're at public comment, and this is for matters that aren't on the agenda, and I don't think there's anybody here with that. So now we'll look at the consent items. I know item 4.4 was removed to discuss later. Do I have any other questions from the board members?
I'll move approval of the, remainder of the consent agenda.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Into the mic.
I'll second.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. So do we do a roll call, or is it all?
Voice vote's okay.
Voice votes, okay. So everyone in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Against? None. So it's passed unanimously with the absence of one board member. Do we have a report from council?
No report this evening. Thank you.
So now we're on to business items. Approved conditional will-serve letters. Taj DeVore will provide the,
Good evening. So there are two conditional will-serve letters before the board tonight. One of them has been presented to the district before. Maybe not all the board members voted on it at that time, but the first one is the one I was referring to that has been here before back in 2022. It's a 6-lot residential subdivision in Aptos Soquel boundary. No infrastructure there other than water meters. The lot is a long lot with a frontage on a water main. The second one is a 10-unit low-income housing development at a church on McGregor Drive. Something new. And that one shouldn't require infrastructure either. It should just require meters and fire sprinklers.
Do we require sub-meters?
Yes, if we can, if the state allows it. These are low-income units, so we'll have to assess what the state allows.
Can I ask Josh a question? Does the state allow that for low income?
I don't have that off the top of my head. We would have to look.
Because I haven't heard about that. Is that a thing?
The state is granting low-income housing
Waivers or something?
different, maybe not for meters, but for, I know, water capacity fees and things like that.
There have been restrictions on some low-income developments and ADUs on our ability to require some of the sub-meters. So I apologize. We would need to double check and follow up.
Yeah, they'll have separate entities living in each of these, correct?
Yeah.
Yes.
And they assume would they each be customers, or are they being?
Well, remember the Park Avenue development, the stacked prefabbed things? We couldn't individually meter those. They have a single master meter. So
They wouldn't be paying each their own water bill anyway, would they?
I think these are good questions.
yeah, we'll see. Obviously, our policy dictates separate meters unless there's some statute that allows them to not have that.
And Taj, once we accept this piece, which is like kind of the pre-application or application phase, then it'll go into the development phase where they'll be working with your staff to identify more in detail the project. And then the fees collected, how it is metered, would then also need to come back.
Correct.
as I crunched a carrot. Are there any other questions?
No, I don't, but I'd like to see these answered because I think there's probably likely going to be more projects like the one on Canterbury Drive. I think that's...
At the conditional will serve, they don't really know specifically what they're doing as far as how
So
they're
it'd be
providing
good
the
to-
water.
to hear what the state requires of.
Well, our policy requires individual meters unless we are unable to do that.
Yeah.
So we can share that news when we come for the unconditional.
Okay.
We'll know that by then.
Okay, so I need a
I
motion.
just didn't know if you still asked for public comment, even though.
Is there public comment? Seeing none?
I just didn't know. All right, I'll move approval of both motions.
Right. Now we are.
Should I second just because nobody else
I'll
is?
second.
Guess so.
I'll second. No, I don't mind at all.
All right.
This is a voice vote. So all in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, it passes unanimously with,
Thanks, Josh.
yeah, thank you, Tosh. So now we've already completed 6.2, so we're on 6.3. That is vote for the special district regular and alternate member seats on the LAFCO board in a runoff election. And who will be doing that?
I will go ahead and present this item. As you recall, we recently presented this item, which is for available seats on the LAFCO board. Following the submission of our votes and the collection of other votes, the election has gone into a runoff. So both seats, both the regular seat and the alternate seat, are up for new voting that is required so that the LAFCO board can appoint new representation. So as outlined in the board memo, we have the regular seats, both candidates for the regular seats are Jim Anderson and Lonnie Faulkner. And for the alternate member seat, it's Ed Banks and Lonnie Faulkner. Each district gets one vote for each position, and the deadline to return the ballot to LAFCO is on May 1st, 2025. So we are presented tonight is to have the board nominate a regular seat and an alternate seat.
Thank you. And there's public comment. We need some public, okay?
Jim Anderson, the sitting LAFCO member. I was at your last meeting and spoke to my qualifications and stuff. And so I'm here just to offer my ability to answer any questions you might have since the last meeting. And just, again, ask you for your vote so I can continue my next term.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. So there's no more public, so anyone want to say something? I guess I should speak into here.
I mean, I've worked with Jim as well, and I was going to recommend that or make a motion that we select him as for the regular term.
Yeah, and the first time around, we selected Iolani, and but I was very impressed with your credentials, and I heard people speak highly of you, so I'm fine with that. But I'd at least like to see her get on as an alternate.
So I've worked with Jim, and he's an amazing person, and I'm so glad he's helped our community for so many decades. But I wanted to suggest Lonnie, because as a scientist, Lonnie Faulkner brings that data-driven approach to decision making, and as a woman of color, she also brings new perspectives to the table. So I saw that in that recent LAFCO election, Lonnie received 47% of the vote. Is that correct? That's what I had written down, and I confirmed that. So I think so. And I just think that those results reflect trust and confidence, showing that Lonnie is a very solid community member and showing her leadership potential. So that's my thought on it.
I guess I could have a thought, right?
Yeah.
My thought on the LAFCO board is that it is much more complicated than people understand. And a lot of people think it's boring, but it's not. There's a lot of interesting concepts and how you can make everything work better as far as the special districts and utilities in the cities. I don't agree with putting someone that's never been on LAFCO or been a alternate in as a voting member right away.
Okay.
I have some concern about that just because there's a lot to learn, and you want someone that really does understand what it's about, does have a passion for that, and goes to training and learns what the job is, because it's not that easy.
Yeah.
It's not that easy at all. And I was lucky because I have made applications to LAFCO as a county employee, And I've seen I had to do a lot of different things. Like I know what extraterritorial service is, not everybody does. And it's just, there's a big learning curve. And I know people like board members end up on the board from the County Board of Supervisors. So you don't have to have that, but I just don't feel comfortable letting go of Jim's experience and knowledge.
That's okay. I'm persuaded.
So maybe can I make the motion that we select Jim for the regular member seat and Lonnie for the alternate?
Yes.
Okay, I'll second that.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Is this a voice vote? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Seeing none, motion is carried.
Thank you.
Thank you for your service. Having,
Yeah.
Good luck.
it's a really rewarding service. Got to be on it for a while, and I feel like you really can make a difference. So thank you.
Yeah.
Good.
Keep
Looking
up the good work, Jen.
Thank you. Good night.
Yeah.
Happy birthday.
Oh.
Today? Oh, happy birthday.
Aw.
Good luck.
Okay, so now we're on item 6.4, initiate the public member recruitment process for the district's public advisory committee and designate a review and selection committee. And who's going to be presenting that? Emma? Oh, great.
Thanks, President Lather. So this item is presented, as you said, to initiate the Public Advisory Committee public member recruitment and designate an ad hoc review and selection committee. So to start with, I'll just give a little background. Our public members were first appointed in July of 2021. And then per our policy, they're invited to serve a second-year term, and that all of them did. And so now in 2025, we're ending that second-year term renewal. So our policy states that we have to go out and at least ask for applications for new public members to serve. So tonight, if the board so chooses, we can initiate that recruitment process. We'll put an application on our website, do various forms of outreach, and allow applications to come in until the end of May. And then once we get all the applications, staff would work with the review and selection committee, the ad hoc review and selection committee, to make a formal recommendation to the board in July. So that's what's before you tonight. And then we also wanted to present for the board to consider is the meeting frequency and also the structure. So the frequency, we currently meet 6 times per year. And there has been some discussion about potentially reducing that to 4 times per year. So the board may consider that tonight. And then in addition to the frequency, you can also consider the structure. This one stems from the board's interest in involving youth, especially on a committee. So if you want to, you can designate, we're thinking maybe 2 spots for students. We're juniors, seniors in high school or college level. And then the important piece about this is that that would be contingent upon other public members serving as well, in addition to the students. So there'd be like 2 student member seats and then up to 6 other regular member seats for a total of 8 on the Public Advisory Committee. I think that sums it up, unless you wanted to add anything, Melanie.
No, I think, in terms of the structure over the last couple of years, we've had multiple committees. We had the Finance Committee, we had the Water Resources and Infrastructure Committee, and we had the Outreach Committee. In the last 2 years or so, we compressed those. So the Public Advisory Committee and we've also made them longer in duration. For the last couple of public advisory committee meetings, I think we've finally gotten into a really good groove with this group. They seem very engaged. I know several of them likely will reapply, and that there's interest in really still understanding the kind of their knowledge and awareness of the district, the issues that we're challenged with, the opportunities to work with the community. So I feel like it's very much an asset to have the public advisory committee. I do like the addition of a student or youth participation. And I also do think that 4 times a year, which was the frequency of the Finance and Business Services Committee, may be a right-sized frequency going forward with this group. But of course, we're open to input and suggestions from the board.
Is there any public comment? Seeing none, let's go to the board.
Now there is no.
Okay. So I agree with everything with Melanie said, except I really feel serving on this board that 6 times a year is important. And the reason why I feel that way is because 4 times a year you kind of forget and you get a little disengaged. And I think 6 times a year is important. I know it takes more staff time, and I realize that. But I would definitely argue for 6 times a year meeting. I love the youth. I love all the other parts of it, and yeah.
I'll chime in on that too, having participated such a long time on this. I think the 6 times too, that was one of the things that I noticed with the 4 times a year. It was easier on staff, of course, but people would forget. They just would forget what, it became less important because it was just, hadn't thought about it for a couple months. And I think even if we have to just make it shorter, just maybe that would make it easier, and just concentrate doing what we've started transitioning to concentrating to a discipline, or one, concentration of one department or one activity within the district to focus on. An hour would work. And that would maybe just ease some of that pressure. But if you don't, that's been my experience. They just forget. Oh yeah, because it's been a couple months. It really is hard to stay on track. And so that has been the problem, especially when you only had 2 members of 2 or 3 members on a committee, and then it was 4 months, and then it was like one person would remember that they were supposed to show up on a certain date. So I would push for that, keeping it 6, maybe shortening the meetings, and focusing on, continue to focus on, HR, just all the different facets of the thing. And we do that as a round robin, and we just continue that. Then I think by the time their service is over, they might really have a comprehensive view of the district too, and they become our unofficial ambassadors. They can explain things to people that seem incomprehensible. You're like, well, why can't we just get water? Why does it cost so much? It just comes down on the sky. Stuff like that. We want to, the community has got huge amount of effort on Melanie's and Rebecca's and stuff like that, have changed the knowledge base, but it still helps to have someone say, oh yeah, I'm on this committee, and they just, really, I think that's really worthwhile. They actually, when it's important and they are engaged, they show up at meetings, at crucial times, like great meetings. And there's a lot to be said for keeping them engaged. Anyway, that's my opinion.
Have the public members been able to attend all 6, or have they been basically attending 4 anyway? Is it always the same ones?
I think we have a few that will show up all the time, and then we have a handful that show up about half the time.
Yeah, I'll just add because I think it's kind of interesting. Last meeting, we had 3 public members, I believe, show up. 2 of them were the complete opposite of the other 2 that had showed up at the previous meeting, if that makes sense. So in February, we had 1 of the same, and then 2. And then in April, we had 1 of the same, and then 2 fully different ones. So I just thought that was kind of interesting because it's not the same every time.
So that's another argument for expansion to making sure that there's.
That's
Definitely. Tom, do you have something to say?
Yeah, so I mean, I understand the desire to not have to organize a meeting as often, but I was just thinking back, we used to have the infrastructure meeting and the finance meeting and the public outreach meeting. So it's still pared it down. So I'm still okay with 6 meetings. I mean, sometimes one gets canceled because of whatever reason or another. I'd be willing to be on the review committee if somebody else doesn't want to do it, or if that's okay. And then I love the idea of the student member. Of course, it was something I think that would be really great, whether it's from junior, senior, high school, or whether it's from college. Either way.
Can we find a way to make it count as public? What is it that they have to do?
Public service.
Public service.
Yeah. I thought. Good idea.
That would be, yeah, because they have to do 10 hours a year?
It just depends sometimes on the school or the teacher.
I also like Carla's idea of trying to keep it to an hour. It just gets to be kind of too long for everybody. It's easier for people to commit to an hour.
Or an hour and a half, I think would be fine too. No? Okay.
I'm only good for an hour.
Yeah, well, I think by breaking it down, not to trying to cover everything, I think that's will help a lot with that.
Yeah, and I like your suggestion. I think when we had said 4, we had said 4, and we could increase if needed. I think if there's 6, and maybe we cancel 1 if needed. I think for us, it's just sometimes getting the number of people to show up.
Yeah. Well, so anyone else?
Can we talk about the ad hoc committee thing?
Yeah. I mentioned I'd be willing, but if somebody else.
Oh, I'd be willing.
How about you, Carla?
I would be too. I think I did it the last time.
Okay, so you want to give me a shot?
Sure.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, we need to make a motion. So I'll make a motion that Carla and Jennifer be on the ad hoc committee for
Well, wait, I thought it was
selection.
Tom and Jennifer.
Oh.
Said she'd give me a shot.
Oh.
What does it
I
preclude?
thought you wanted to do it. I thought you said you wanted to do it too.
Oh, no, I'm willing to do it. Yeah,
Yeah.
we'd really like to then.
That's fine. You guys can do it. It's fine. So anyway, what I was saying.
I'm a control freak, so.
We have a bunch of motions here. One is to just initiate the recruitment process. That's one. 2 would be to have Carla and Jennifer as ad hoc board members. 3 would be to maintain the frequency at 6 per year, so we really don't need 3.
Do 3. Mm-hmm.
So and then 4, we would designate 2 student public members. So that's the 3 motions then, 1, 2, and 4.
I second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Seeing none.
Thank you.
Thanks for putting that together, Emma.
Yeah. So now we're at item 6.5, adopt resolution 2508, honoring Public Service Recognition Week, May 4th to the 10th, 2025. David, do you have any presentation or something to say?
This is nationally celebrated. This year it's the 40th anniversary, according to the memo, and that it's been recognized throughout the United States, and it recognizes all public service employees in a variety of jurisdictions, as well as cities, special districts like ourselves, and other types of municipalities. I think it's important that we recognize all of our district staff for the work they do. And this memorandum kind of outlines how this particular celebration is recognized in other parts of the United States. But we want to obtain your support for this resolution, and we'll certainly circulate it with district staff as well after this meeting.
Thank you. Any board discussion? Or, sorry, members of the public? There are none.
I'll move approval.
And I'll second. I think it's a great idea. I don't remember it. Have we done it in the past?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, good.
I think considering how the times are right now, it's especially important to
Yes.
recognize public employees.
Yes.
Anyway, we've got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None? So,
Oh, we have one more thing.
oh yeah, we have one more thing.
Oh,
yeah.
Hold an item.
Oh, darn.
Sorry.
It's okay.
Almost forgot. Okay. So we have item 4.4, management department updates. So you had some questions?
So it's page 52 of our agenda. And under Pure Water Soquel, their second bullet is request for qualifications from qualified vendors to provide on-call professional, technical, specialized services for the Pure Water Soquel project. And so I just wasn't sure what exactly that is.
We want to make sure that we have some on-call professional services available to the district once the facility comes online. So we do have quite a few consultants that have been kind of an extension to staff to help us construct and implement the project. The work, once the project is online is a little bit different. So we'd like to initiate the procurement to, seek out and then, of course, come into contract for us over the next couple of years. So this is services that would require maybe some treatment specialty, if we have some optimization of the facilities, if there might be some additional groundwater modeling. The RFQ, which is posted on our website, lists kind of numerous types of services that we could procure. Yes.
And then on the second subject, the MGA optimization study, I just was going to ask when the next update, is that June or July, when we're expecting that? I'm trying to remember.
I don't have it off the top of my head. I know we were going to try to bring something, I believe, in July to the board, which would be another update, and hopefully to finalize and provide you an update on the final report of the optimization study. We're working on the last pieces and the components, and a lot of the information is now going to be used within the city's WASAP process, which is their water supply augmentation implementation plan. So a lot of the technical data that has been generated from the Opta study has been used to go through some of the alternatives and recommendations, and then also over to the city. So Shelley and likely we'll have Heidi come back in July.
Great. The last one, I don't know, just any more new updates from DDW on Chrome 6? Like they were going to, it says participate in a call with DDW. Compliance monitoring and reporting requirements. So was there anything new since I last heard?
We did have a conversation about how we would notify our customers and at what point. And the state did say that we don't have to wait for that, October timeframe to do that. We can start letting our customers know what we've been doing, what's coming, and then they have some set language that is going to be needed come October. Yeah. But other than that, there is not really much new to report.
All right. Thanks.
Oh, the one thing they did confirm is that we have to notify all of our customers, even the ones over here in Capitola, that will likely never see that water. We did ask them explicitly if we had a way to draw a boundary. They said no. So it might confuse some people, you know, getting the notices, but we'll do our best to answer their calls if they call.
Okay. Thanks.
Great,
That's
thank
all
you.
my questions.
Okay, so any other questions? Do we have a motion?
I don't think we.
Do we have to do that? It's
Motion's
part
not
of the-
required. This is information only.
Okay, so this is informational only. So I guess we're at adjournment unless I missed something. Okay, meeting is adjourned.
Thank you. Good night.
Chris.
I'm getting better.
That's good.